Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, June 6, 2026. Fire potential headlines for today include dry and windy conditions across the south expected today through early next week through Tuesday. Lots of high risk triggers and red flag warnings out there for this extended dry windy event. Isolated dry thunderstorms are possible along small band on Sunday. And then the trough that comes in Tuesday, Wednesday will likely bring some precipitation and much cooler temperatures, especially across the north. As far as the fuels go, grass and sagebrush are definitely ready and continue to carry fuel across southern Idaho. And then we also have some very dry, heavy shrubs and trees across southern Utah. Fire potential impacts for the next couple of days shows a pretty significant wind event coming to the Great Basin. We can see in these darker shaded browns, we're expecting wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour across much of southern Nevada and into central and southern Utah today. Tomorrow the area is a little bit smaller, and then on Monday, the winds increase once again. We'll also see a little bit of moisture coming in with this first trough Sunday into Monday, which will bring an increase in some thunderstorm coverage. These storms here will be definitely isolated in nature, but something to watch out for as they will be on the drier side. And then on Monday, some cooler weather and a better chance of precipitation starts to move into the north and far northern and western parts of the region. Yesterday was another quiet day with no precip and no lightning. Fires pop up late in the day yesterday. Most notably is this Blue Ridge fire that burned over 10,000 acres between yesterday and this morning, and a few other large fires there in southern Idaho as well. ERCs continue to rise across much of the geographic area, and we have a few more PSAs that have popped into that over that 90th percentile here in the orange, especially here over far south central Idaho. Those values have been setting records for the last couple of weeks, still at historic highs today, but in the coming days those values will decrease with the trough coming in, bringing some cooler, wetter weather. Take a look at the forecast here. Our upper level pattern is showing that low pressure system moving in over the Pacific Northwest. That's what's really increasing the winds across the southern Great Basin today. We do have high risk issued for much of southeast Nevada and into southern and central Utah and eastern Utah today for those strong dry winds. Tomorrow that low continues to move eastward across the northern Rockies, dragging that cold front through the central part of the area, and we may see some isolated, generally dry thunderstorms developing along a band here from eastern Idaho down into eastern Nevada. These will be generally isolated, but definitely on the drier side. The next low starts to develop as well off the Pacific coast. And then on Monday, that low will draw closer to the Great Basin here over the Pacific Northwest, bringing increased winds once again across southern parts of the Great Basin. We will start to see some cooler temperatures and some precipitation moving into far northwest portions of the geographic area starting on Monday. Let's take a look at those winds. Today it's going to be a very windy day across much of the southern half of the Great Basin with gusts up to 45 miles an hour plus in some of these darker shades of pink and purple. Minimum relative humidities are also very low across Nevada and Utah. Coming up just a little bit over Idaho today behind that little front there. On Sunday, the winds are going to be more limited to southern and eastern Utah with some a bit of relief further north and west. Minimum relative humidities are still going to be pretty low. And then on Monday, the winds pick up again, another very strong windy day across much of Nevada and Utah ahead of that next low, and minimum relative humidities are still on the lower end. Precipitation for the next 3 days shown here. Not really looking for much with this first low, maybe a few little isolated storms across our far northern border today. And tomorrow, a bit more. We'll see some storms filling into maybe eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, and then just this very slight signal here indicating the potential for some isolated drier type storms across northern Utah into east central Nevada. And then on Monday, better chance of some precipitation starting to move into the western parts of the area, maybe late in the day. On Tuesday and through Wednesday, Thursday, the next low continues to draw closer here, or that low starting Monday into Tuesday will bring a better chance of some precipitation to the north on Tuesday. Still windy out ahead of that low over southern and southeast Utah, so we have high risk issued once again there. And then on Wednesday, finally that low begins to lift off to the north and east, and we'll see some continuing precipitation across our northern areas on Wednesday and potentially even into Thursday as well. A lot of our zones turning green across the north on Thursday. This next system early next week is cooler and we'll have some better precipitation with it. But looking at the winds here on Tuesday, again, another windy day on Tuesday ahead of that low early next week. Relative humidities come up quite a bit behind that low across the north, but still seeing some low values over southern Nevada and southern Utah. And then on Wednesday, finally, we see some relief in the winds across Utah. Still some breezy conditions further north, but we'll see cooler temperatures and higher RHs up there. And then that brings us into Thursday, which we could expect to see some continuing precipitation possible across the northern areas. All right, precip wise, let's look at what we're expecting Tuesday. We'll see the precipitation develop a little bit better, increasing across mainly the Idaho Mountains, western Wyoming, but we will see some precip potentially over northern Nevada and into northern Utah. Some of that precip sticks around for Wednesday across the eastern parts of the area, and then maybe just some lingering storms over far northeast zones. Temperatures through this period are going to be kind of a roller coaster as the different lows move through, but Tuesday looks to be one of the cooler days with highs mostly in the 70s across much of the geographic area, which is 5 to 10 degrees below normal for the time of year. Summing it all up here, we have high risk issued for today for those strong winds over eastern Nevada and across much of Utah. Tomorrow the winds continue across the south, but we'll see some threat for some isolated dry thunderstorms in the central part of the area here. And then winds continuing Monday into Tuesday ahead of that next low. Then finally by Wednesday and Thursday we'll see some relief with precipitation coming into the north and cooler temperatures, maybe even some snow possible across our far northern northeast areas as we head into the second half of next work week. The extended forecast for June 11th through the 15th calls for below normal temperatures across our northeast areas and heat building into the west coast, near normal to slightly below normal chances for precipitation. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest